Hey guys, your review for Chapter 16 with what we talked about this week with kind of the westward expansion movement with mining and Chinese and the railroad and obviously the Indians. And so I'm going to go through this with you. First off, make sure you go back and go through all of the prompts for this week. The multiple choice ones, especially. You're going to possibly see some of them, okay? And also to Asia, make sure you are watching this right now. Okay. All right. Now, in the West, in the 1840s, it was very multiracial. It was divided along race lines, even though it was multiracial. You had your little areas where your pockets of where this Indian tribe was, or the Chinese were here, or the whites were here, African Americans were there. It was definitely split that way. However, with that, there was definitely higher wages in the West than there were compared to the North, or actually, I should say, even the East. So they were definitely getting paid more going out in that direction. What else? The Plains Indians. They were the largest group of people in the West that made up a majority of the western frontier. The biggest Indian tribe was the Sioux Nation, and that's the movie that we've been watching about with the Sioux Indians in at Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. Okay. Moving further westward towards more of California, the American West and the Chinese. And if first off, the Chinese and the Americans and the whites kind of got along for the most part. It was initial acceptance, but then it turned into a lot of hostility between the two groups of people. Um, but the Chinese were critical and crucial for us to build the Transcontinental Railroad because our labor force on the western coast of the Transcontinental Railroad was pretty much entirely Chinese. Okay. The Chinese Exclusion Act, well, this was another area in the United States where you could look at it was a bad thing towards what the government did. And this resulted in the banned Chinese in the United States to become naturalized citizens. Okay. San Francisco, 1849, was a boomtown due to the fact that it was a mining town, and people went out there to get rich and get rich quick. And this was single white males for the most part that went out there and tried to hit it off in the West. And they would go to one mine and take everything out and move on to the next one, and the town would be left behind. But though, the mining in the West definitely saw individual prospectors come out first before corporations did. Women were there, but there was a very small percentage of women. The ones that were there were domestic servants for the most part, worked on domestic tasks. There was prostitution that was rampant, but for the most part, this was men that was out there in these mining towns. Okay, and it was also men, excuse me, that did the whole cowboy culture. That was seen from Texas to Missouri westward, and um, they had the long drives for moving cattle from one place to another to get to a railroad to get shipped up to Chicago to get slaughtered and get to use as food. Uh, the American West, the popular image of the American West was the heroic cowboys. Sorry, heroic cowboys. Perceived the region to be offering basically true freedom. I mean, there wasn't a lot of laws. People weren't moving out there. The population was a little more scarce than big cities of the Northeast and the South. Um, what else with that one? They promoted the Rocky Mountain School. A lot of painting, a lot of literature came out of it. Don't worry about who they were. Just know that was important to them. Okay. What else? Frederick Jackson Turner, his significance of the frontier of American history. The end of this, he basically claimed this was the end of the frontier for the most part. Okay. And this was the most important forces in American life at the time, and he was basically saying that it was closed. All right, now moving into the Indian side of things, the traditional policy of the federal government in regard to Indians was they were given their own areas, their own little territories, their wards of President of the United States. Little Bighorn and Wounded Knee Little Bighorn was our short-lived Indian victory for the most part. Um, Wounded Knee was not so much a victory. This was more of a defeat, and saw uh, more than 300 Indians were killed or massacred. Women, and includes women and children in there as well. The ghost dances, what became popular is as a spiritual revival among Plains Indians, and it really set the course of something's going to happen in the future. It might be an attack, it might be people coming together for a common cause, but that was very important to them. The Dawes Act of 1887. This was viewed by the U.S. government as a plan to save the Indians and not push them further west or give them anything. The government thought they were doing a really good thing here. Um, and then last thing, just agriculture of the West. This was commercial farmers struggled. They were not self-sufficient, and they made little effort to become so um, with this agriculture in general in the West. So go through this, and then also remember, go through the prompts that were online today and yesterday, and those will help you as well. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Asia, I hope you enjoyed this. Uh, Second hour, make sure you bring some cash for our girl from Sibley, a couple bucks to provide a nice holiday gift for her. Other than that, I think that's it. Enjoy your Thursday night. Go to the basketball game if you can, and I'll see you mañana.